Good morning. Welcome to Morning Momentum. Today, as we continue in the theme of knowing which challenges to accept and which to decline, we're going to talk about the very important topic of our tendencies, knowing what our tendencies are and how those will lead us into accepting the right challenges. So grab a cup of coffee, get ready as we dig into this topic together. Hey, happy Valentine's Day. So this week we've been talking about identifying our gifts, knowing our capabilities, so that we can correctly prioritize the challenges that will come our way. It's been a week of introspection and self-evaluation. Continuing in that vein, I'd like to identify another subject about ourselves that we should know, and that is, what are my tendencies? What are the defaults? How do we respond in situations where the pressure is on and perhaps we have to simply react before we can think through the possible choices? This is important. There are two issues to address here. Number one, identifying our tendencies, and secondly, evaluating the possible need to change our tendencies. The fact is, we all have tendencies. Some of them are good and some are not so good. A very simple illustration: most people have a tendency to brush their teeth in the morning. This is good. Yet, for others, personal hygiene may not be a tendency, and that is not so good. The reason why knowing your tendencies is so vital is very simple, and it's actually found in Webster's dictionary. Because the first definition in the dictionary for the word tendency is a proneness to a particular thought or action. This is where our mind generally goes when thinking of tendencies. But I think Webster's second definition is perhaps why knowing our tendencies is so vitally important. The second definition is direction or approach toward a place, object, or limit. Simply put, your tendencies will determine your direction and will affect your limitations. Remember the individual whose inclination is to not care about their hygiene? Trust me, that tendency will determine the direction of their life, from career to relationships. So too will tendencies pertaining to our attitudes, prayer life, reactions, fears, and so on. The wise man of ancient scripture said it like this: there is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Adversely, he also said, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct the path. The word way in both verses sums up both definitions for the word tendency. It means a road, figuratively a course of life, direction, or mode of action, tendency. Tendencies determine direction, and direction will determine our destiny. In chemical physics and physical chemistry, chemical affinity is the electronic property by which dissimilar chemical species are capable of forming chemical compounds. Chemical affinity can also refer to the tendency of an atom or compound to combine by chemical reaction with atoms or compounds of unlike composition. Similarly, your tendencies will determine what you attach yourself to. If you tend to spend money unwisely, you will attach yourself to debt. If you tend to respond angrily, you will attach yourself to loneliness. If you tend to be a workaholic, you will attach yourself to displaced priorities. If you tend to love people, you will attach yourself to influence. And if you tend to be disciplined, you will attach yourself to success. If you tend toward righteousness, you will attach yourself to God. Evaluate your tendencies and you will see the heading of your life. Do you need a course correction? Be encouraged. You can make the correction. In his book, Developing the Leader Within You, John Maxwell tells about a noted concert violinist who was asked the secret of her mastery of the instrument. The woman answered the question with two words: planned neglect. Then she explained, there were many things that used to demand my time. When I went to my room after breakfast, I made my bed, straightened the room, dusted, and did whatever seemed necessary. When I finished my work, I turned to my violin practice. That system, she said, prevented me from accomplishing what I should on the violin. So I reversed things. I deliberately planned to neglect everything else until my practice was completed. and that program of planned neglect is the secret of my success. She changed her tendencies and it impacted her life's direction. The same can happen for you. Simply put, you can train your tendencies. This is what makes firefighters run to the same fire that others are running from. It's what leads soldiers to run toward the gunfire that a normal citizen would run from. Why? Because they have trained their tendencies. So let's evaluate. 1, what is my strongest positive tendency? 2, what is my weakest negative tendency? And lastly, what are some ways I need to incorporate in my life in order to achieve future success?